Episode 8, Sally Campbell from SA Secrets podcast. Again, another podcast that I tune in on, I listen in. And the reason why I love Sally is because she's basically documenting her journey, why she started, her love of art, why she chose Progressive as the training company that will teach her more about property and all the other things. Why she chose Rob Moore as a sort of mentor and why she believes that he's the right guy for her. And, we talk about a lot of different things in this episode. Another good one for you to go and check out, especially if you're on the Progressive bandwagon. Episode 9, we then started part 1 of the Touchstone Education guys. Gordy was fantastic to interview, so upbeat, so positive, and he shared some really effective tips on how to get bookings for your SA property. One tip, in fact, that he shared, which you have to go and tune in to find out what it is one that I am sort of just forwarding on to other people when they say, I can't get bookings. This one tip, which takes maybe 2 hours of your life, is worked phenomenally for him, and I guarantee that it will work for others. Episode 10, possibly some could say we have an unknown in the service accommodation world, but is definitely one to keep an eye on. Adam is somebody that I actually went to stay with in Birmingham back in June. Me and Laura went down, we had a couple of kid-free days, and Adam kindly invited us down in exchange for a coaching call, which we did, and it was phenomenal. And I actually went and met Adam, and we just discussed in our podcast episode what he does that's different from everybody else. And we go down the route of hospitality. We go down the route of how he gets feedback from his guests pre, during, and post stay, and how it has helped him get so many bookings based on referrals. Episode 11, part 2 of the Touchstone trifecta, as I like to call it. Paul Smith, head guy there. You'll see him a lot. Really in-depth interview. He really talked about some topics that I don't see many other people talking about, specifically when it comes around regulation, health and safety, the pitfalls if you don't get that. And again, we touch upon a lot of things, how his first ever experience with service accommodation was somewhere close to home to me in Middlesbrough. Episode 12, Ahmed Khan, again, really interesting character, part of the Progressive crew, does a lot of his own thing, but we spoke about how he runs his whole business just from his iPhone. Again, he has built systems and structure in place. He attributes Guesty as a big part of him being able to run everything, all of his properties, which I think is, from what I remember, coming in at 40 plus. Due to that, in fact, now that he's grown that, he's systemized it, he's structured it, he's now looking at going into other aspects of property. Episode 13, Benjamin Portsmouth came into my world purely because when I was doing the research for Gordy, Ben reached out to me. He's a good friend of Gordy's for many a year, and I asked him some questions that I could ask Gordy that would throw him off. To be fair to Ben, I think he let him off lightly because Gordy absolutely smashed it in the interview. But after it, me and Ben got chatting, found out that Ben is an expert marketer. He teaches property people loads of direct booking tips, which is right up my alley. Finally, the one before this one, the penultimate episode, I chatted to part 3 of the Touchstone trifecta. Abbie is just one of those infectious characters, and I've been trying all summer to try and get Abbie on the podcast. We're able to work out a date. In fact, when we spoke, Abbie was in Italy. She was doing a week away with the Touchstone crew, going through so many things. She was writing a book. She's an extremely busy lady, but she very kindly put out set time aside to chat to me about how she chooses locations. Now, the locations, like I said at the start, service accommodation is predominantly in built-up cities because that's where the assumption is where you're going to get the most bookings. Abbie has taken a different route. She's got properties in Bakewell, she's got properties in Whitby, and she's going to go to the lakes. And she chooses her areas based on where she would take her kids for a holiday, and I love that.